to Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Barjo.
I'm Rad.
I'm Goose.
And I am Darren.
Coming up on the show, we chase some eagles and some birdies in everybody's golf.
No, not the animals. It's scoring terminology.
No way! We also fight monsters with powerful magic in Mages of Mystralia.
Plus, if you've got an interest in coding, then wait until you meet app developer Yuma.
I like the fact that I could actually turn my ideas into reality through technology and apps. So
He's only 10 years old.
What a cool, smart kid. I want to be just like him when I grow up.
Well, we better get Darren to exercise our brains.
Affirmative. Energize your grey matter, spawnlings. It's time for Darren's Challenge. Today, I'm asking you this. In Rayman Legends, at the end of each world, where does Rayman send the dark teensies? Answer at the end of the show.
Hopefully it's somewhere they can never escape from.
I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere far, far away.
Okay, guys, it's review time. Mages of Mystralia is an adventure game where you build and cast your own spells. Using these spells, you'll fight monsters and solve puzzles, all with your own brand of spell combinations.
You play as the young mage Zia, who has only just discovered she has magical powers. But you're living in a world where magic has been outlawed, which is bad news for a youngster who can't control her powers yet.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a worst case scenario. Luckily though, you're picked up by another mage who turns out to be your mentor. He sends you on a journey to learn how to control your magic and use it for good. Although I'm not sure why he immediately leaves you in the woods by yourself to try and figure things out when he's supposed to be the one teaching you.
Yeah, that's bad mentoring 101. After you find your spell book, you're ready to start learning spells. And here's where the fun of the game really lies.
You have a number of different elemental powers, and you can change their behavior using various augmentations. You do this by rearranging augmentation blocks around a base elemental power within your spellbook. This creates a new spell, and each block changes how that particular spell is going to act.
Crafting new spells and testing them out was thrilling, and I liked how you could add your own creativity into things. You could add movement to fireballs to shoot them, or add a right-hand turn to make them curve. You can try and be careful to create something specific, but I think it's more fun to throw a bunch of things together and see what happens.
Come what may. It gives you a rich library of options with which to puzzle and fight with, but unfortunately I found the combat rather clunky. The auto-aim system doesn't do enough to link your attacks in the right direction, meaning there's a lot of awkward moments of turning in circles to try and get the correct angle. This made trying to hit anything super frustrating.
Yeah, and this actually extends beyond combat into the puzzles as well. Scattered throughout the world, there are fire urns, which you need to light to unlock doors or hidden treasure. For many, you'll need to light a few within a short time span for it to work. But with the awkward aiming, I found a lot of these really hard to complete. There were some that I just had to walk away from.
Well, the game is designed to have you come back to areas once you've unlocked more spells, so it's possible that those puzzles will be easy peasy lemon squeezy later on.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Darren, are you okay? You don't sound like yourself.
God, I had a small upgrade to my linguistics parameters to allow for more slang. It's been quite the ripper lately.
Oh, sounds tore up from the floor up, Darren. Once you unlock a few more spells, things do get better, but still it never really feels satisfying. In fact, I just started running away to avoid having to engage in the combat at all. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not fight.
Yeah, that looked real brave. They'll call you Barjo the Brave. The game does a good job of drip feeding you new bits and pieces with which to craft your spells. Just when you think you can't get past an area, voila! Here's a new trick for your trick bag.
In many ways, the design of this game feels a little bit too old school, such as the low health alarm that will not stop beeping. I know I'm on low health, I don't need the beeps! Also, the boss battles have that rather retro structure of being in a locked-off arena where the boss cycles through different attack patterns, giving you small windows within which you can deal damage. I don't think every game needs to do something new and fresh, but parts of this were really frustrating and felt a bit too dated to me.
Yeah, and I found the graphics to be pretty lackluster. They're simple and effective in their cartoony style, but I really disliked the human character design.
Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. To be fair, I think all fleshy creatures look rather strange.
Oh, tell us what you really think, Darren.
There were other things about this game that bothered me too. For example, you can't change the camera angle, so sometimes you're stuck being unable to properly see where you're going or what you're doing. Preheat the oven and pop it in for another 20 because this game is undercooked.
Right, you should never put non-food items in an oven.
Saying it's undercooked is a metaphor, Barjo, a linguistic device in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action where it's not literally applicable. Metaphors are often used in good writing.
Speaking of good writing, I really didn't like the writing in this game. Characters felt shallow with no real motivation behind what they were doing. It was just a device to move people from A to B. Which is a shame because there wasn't even a good story to pull me through.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I didn't like the writing much either. I felt like they tried to make some of the characters humorous or sassy, but in the end they just ended up seeming a bit mean. And I don't like mean people.
No meanies allowed.
No. Overall, Mages of Mystralia does lack polish, but even so, I really enjoyed this game, and I think it's because all of that spell building is so fun, so I'm actually going to give it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Yeah, the spell building is definitely the best part of the game, but it's just encased in a kind of awkward, clunky exterior. So I'm giving it 2 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Apps are awesome. They can do so many cool things, but how do you go about making them and how old do you have to be to start? Today, I'm talking to expert app maker Yuma to find out just what it takes. But first, I have to find our meeting spot. Luckily, there's an app for that. Hi, I'm looking for Yuma.
Hi, I'm not Yuma.
I'm not Yuma.
Hi, I'm Yuma.
Hi, Yuma. Could you teach me about making apps?
Sure, yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
That's right. Yuma is a regular 10-year-old boy that loves school, taekwondo, and playing piano. But he also happens to be a world-renowned app developer with several apps already under his belt. He even has his own YouTube channel on which he teaches coding. But how did he become such an accomplished developer at just 10 years old?
Well, I started coding when I was 6 because my schoolwork was not challenging enough. So I started with making websites and making online games for my friends to play. And then once I was good enough, I decided that I needed more of a challenge. So I started making apps and I learned it from an iTunes to Stanford University course, which I finished in about 4 months.
And what was it about coding that drew you to it?
I liked the fact that I could actually turn my ideas into reality through technology and apps. So,
What's the key to making a really great app?
well, first of all, you need good design. So you need good images, good layout, and you also need it to be responsive. If you click on a button, then it will do something, and it will tell you when it's loading or doing anything.
How do you come up with ideas for apps?
Well, they can come up from anywhere. For example, Hunger Button is an app which lets you find a random restaurant near you. And I came up with that idea from a problem which I had with my parents. And so whenever we went outside, my parents always asked me what do you want to eat? And I was like, I don't know, what do you want to eat? And it was just always a conundrum.
Yuma's app developing skills were so good, they got noticed halfway across the world by Apple, who invited him over to their annual Worldwide Developers Conference in America earlier this year.
I met Yuma yesterday, and I can't wait to see what he's going to accomplish next.
Yuma was the youngest developer there and the second youngest ever to attend. He was even singled out for a chat by none other than the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook.
I showed him my apps and he was just amazed that I could make 5 apps. I was amazed with what everyone made and how everyone was nice, friendly.
Yeah.
They wanted my autograph and
That's
my selfie.
cool. That's super
Yeah.
cool. So what kind of programs do you use when you're coding?
The program I use to make apps is called Swift, and it is my personal favorite because it's really simple, it's clean.
So do you think you want to grow up to be a full-time app developer?
Well, I want to keep doing what I love, and I just want to make apps for everyone to use and make people's life easier and better. And I also want to keep inspiring kids and everyone to just start coding and make apps.
So I have some ideas, app ideas from the Spawn Point team. And is it okay if I read them to you and you rate them out of 5 rubber chickens?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so Barjo had an idea for an app that delivers cheese toasties to you wherever you are.
Maybe I might see a bit more variety for foods. So maybe I'll give it 3.5.
3.5? Okay.
3.5 rubber chickens.
Darren thought of an app that's a countdown to when robots will take over the world.
Well, okay. First of all, I don't really want robots to take over the world, but if it's in a good way, yes. So, two
Rubber chickens. Goose thought of an app that can detect noobs that are nearby.
One thing I know is that he is a noob, so he would detect himself.
Sick burn!
So, 3 rubber chickens.
3?
Yes.
Yep. And my app idea was for one that randomly generates ideas for apps.
I think that would be random app ideaception. So, yeah, that'd be strange, but I think app developers and maybe some customers would probably like it. So, 4.
Win! Thanks so much for talking to us. It's amazing hearing about how to make apps, and I can't wait to watch your videos and learn how to make some myself.
Yeah, thanks.
There are so many apps that make our lives easier and more entertaining, and there's so many more that haven't even been invented yet. And Yuma is proof that you can start coding at any age. So I'm gonna go start making my own app. Step number 1, watch some of Yuma's lessons.
Okay, let's kick things off with this from the king of everything that involves video games, who is in Cheesetown, Victoria.
Oh, Cheesetown, I'd love to live there. I reckon living there would be good.
Ooh, I come and bear the thought.
I don't believe you. Cheese.
Hello, I have got some questions for you. 1, in Stardew Valley, how do you get bait? 2, what are some tips for fishing? 3, are there any free games for iPad that are like Stardew Valley or Minecraft? Thanks! Darren, do this. Just get him on the phone.
Get old man on the phone there.
Spider wink. Smile. Dollar bills. And
Thanks, Darren. If you don't answer, I will destroy all cheese. No toasted cheese sandwiches. Do you have cats?
Well, Your Highness of everything that involves video games. There are a few ways you can get bait. The easiest ways are to either buy it from the fishing shop on the wharf or craft it from bug meat, which you'll get as a drop from some enemies in the mines.
As for some tips on fishing, well, we can definitely help out with that too.
Indeed, first things first, make sure you understand the controls for the fishing minigame. If you mash the button, you'll be able to gently raise your fishing bar, while if you hold it, it will start to raise quickly, and if you let it go, it will drop quickly. It has a lot of momentum though, so it's hard to stop it moving once it gets going in one direction.
And while it can be hard with some of the more difficult fish to predict which way they're going to move, the general trick is to just do your best to keep that bar under control.
Yeah, try to use a combination of longer button holds and short taps to create small controlled movements as much as possible.
Other than that, you'll make things easier for yourself by simply fishing more. The more you catch, the higher your fishing skill will get, which makes the size of your catch area bigger and makes fish move around less.
Using better fishing rods will help you with that too, and of course give you a few extra perks. The fiberglass rod, which you probably have, lets you use bait to make the fish bite quicker, while the iridium rod can also use tackles, which offer various perks.
And when it comes to what fish you can catch, you have to consider the time of day, what season it is, whether it's raining or not, and where you're fishing, as well as how far you cast out your line, since different fish can be found based on all those variables.
As for free games on iPad like Stardew Valley or Minecraft, well, there's loads of free Minecraft clones out there. I haven't really played them much, so I can't say if they're good. Chances are most of them will be pretty average at best, but there could be a few gems out there, and since they're free, you might as well give them a go. But do be careful, there's always ads, nothing is truly for free, or microtransactions. Watch out!
Yes, always make sure that you ask a grown-up before paying for anything. There are also loads of free farming games out there like Heyday, 8-Bit Farm, and Farming Simulator. They aren't really like Stardew Valley though. I've seen one called Harvest Master Farm Sim, which looks very Stardew Valley-ish, but I haven't played it either, so I'm not really sure if it's any good. Looks alright though.
And finally, yes, I have 2 cats, 8-Bit and Quasar.
I don't have any cats, I just have a dog. His name is Boatmeal. Hi Boatmeal, who's a good boy.
Oh, he's a good boy. Does Boatmeal watch the show?
Oh, I try to get him to watch the show, but he usually just sits in front of the TV and looks back at me.
Oh, okay. Are you there, Boatmeal? Are you there,
Boatmeal?
boy? I'll see if my cats are there. 8-Bit, Quasar? 8-Bit, get down from there. Get off the bench. They're not allowed on the bench.
cheeky
Don't
monkeys!
lick in the sink. Don't lick the sink, 8-Bit.
Let's move on now to this from Alexander, who is in Patterson Lakes, Victoria.
There's a good girl. In Minecraft, can you only get a wooden bow? Are there any other types I can find or craft? Banjo, do this. A sideway. Well, Alexander, sadly you can only get wooden bows in Minecraft. You would think you would be able to craft better ones with iron and diamonds and stuff like you can with armor and swords, but no, just wood.
Nah, but you can buff up your bow with enchantments. These will add effects like increasing their damage, setting arrows on fire, or even turning one arrow into infinite ammo.
Oh, and you can also craft special tipped arrows by attaching potions to your arrows.
But on that note, let's move on to this video question, which comes from Andy.
I'm Eddie. I have a few questions and a noob accusation. Should I get a PSVR? They look really fun. Yeah, take that, but they're really expensive. $760? Also, will there some good racing, platforming, and puzzle games for the PS4? Nips18, Ask SP, you said we are noobs.
Wow, thanks for that awesome animation, Andy. I think I smell a future game animator. To answer your question, I would personally say unless you have lots of spare cash laying around, most VR headsets aren't worth it. At least not at the moment. It's not that they aren't really cool and lots of fun, it's just that there aren't enough great meaty games yet to justify their price.
Yeah, there are one or two awesome VR games out there, but most of them are the kind of thing you play for a few hours and then you've had enough. There are quite a few virtual reality arcades and experiences popping up around the place though, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, we'd suggest trying to find somewhere where you can spend a decent bit of time playing a few VR games for yourself and see if it's the kind of thing you can justify spending that much money on. We should also mention that headsets like PlayStation VR aren't really recommended for gamers under the age of 12.
Yes, that is what they say. As for good racing, platforming, and puzzle games for PS4, well, let's see. For racers, there's heaps. There's Drive Club, Wipeout Omega Collection, F1 2017, Redout, Dirt 4, Project Cars, The Crew, just to name a few. They're all solid options depending on what style of racing you like.
As for good platformers, I'd recommend Crash Insane Trilogy, which is 3 games in one, so that's a bonus, Rayman Legends, and Sonic Mania.
Oh, good picks there, Rad. As for puzzle games, well, The Witness is a real noodle scratcher, Fez is a classic, and the Talos Principle will stretch your puzzle-solving power.
And to address that noob accusation, well, I don't recall saying that we were noobs, Barjo, so let's just get Darren on the line here to see if he can remember, because, you know, he's got quite a big memory bank.
Good memory
yeah,
bank.
good memory.
Hello, Darren speaking.
Hi.
Hey, Darren. A Spawnling here says that in episode 18, we apparently said that we were noobs.
Affirmative. I remember. You both admitted to being noobs about Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
No. Oh no, does that mean the Noob Cup?
Oh, negative. I feel it's acceptable to admit your noobery if it's a game or thing you haven't played and don't know about. Every human is a noob to begin with, and it's only when you admit to your noobishness that you can begin to correct it. However, if you claim to know something or state something as fact and are found to be wrong, that is most unacceptable, and you will be found guilty of first-degree noobery.
Noob law is very confusing.
Oh, that's why you got to get yourself a good noob lawyer. Thanks, Darren. That's good to hear.
Oh, my pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Darren.
Oh, thanks again for the animation, Andy. A Spawn Point shirt will be on its way to you shortly. But on that note, we are out of time for this week. So if you'd like to ask us a question or send us in a video for a shirt, then you can go here and send it in. Oh, you got to get yourself a good noob lawyer.
Oh yeah, who's your noob lawyer?
I don't have one.
Neither do I. We could be each other's noob lawyers.
I'd be a great noob lawyer for you. Objection!
Objections!
The Everybody's Golf series has been around for 20 years now, with numerous titles on both console and handheld.
But all you need to know is that this latest release follows the series' tradition of taking a serious golf sim and combining it with fun characters and bright, colourful courses.
The big change this time around is the focus on creating your own unique golfing avatar, who you'll use to compete with, upgrade their skills, buy outfits and items for, all with the aim to become the ultimate golf champion.
Nail it so hard!
In a way, this is more of a golf role-playing game, a GRPG perhaps.
Indeed, but you're also able to play online as well as freely explore the many courses with other keen golfers, so it's more of an MMO GRPG.
Well, either way, I think it's a step in the right direction, even if just because of the awesome character creator. Check it out! It's the SP Golfing Crew!
Yeah, I was pretty happy with my character. He stands just like me.
Nice.
Once you've created your golf avatar, it's off to Golf Island. A small hub that introduces you to the game's modes, features, and its many overly polite staff.
Happy golfing!
From here, you can choose to play solo, online, shop for outfits, or enter tournaments. And these make up the bulk of the single-player experience.
Winning tournaments grants you golden experience, which will eventually unlock specific opponents who you will need to defeat in order to gain rank and unlock more courses to play.
Nice birdie! Yeah! Nice birdie!
I was actually surprised at some of the complexity here. For instance, taking shots requires a 3-button press to fill a power meter before hitting a sweet spot for accuracy.
Cool!
But this mechanic can be really unforgiving. I mean, missing by the smallest amount can send your ball flying off to the left or to the right. And the putting. Oh, so many missed shots, guys. My short game needs some serious work.
Luckily, every well-made stroke will help to fill a progress meter based on the type of shot for that specific club. For instance, land near the pin and your iron's accuracy will level up, reducing the amount of sway. Or should you hit a perfect drive straight down the fairway, the driver's power will increase, gaining precious feet for each shot.
You look stronger already.
I think this is such a clever solution to deal with increasing your skill level. Rather than just putting points into specific attributes, this actually simulates what it's like to get better at a sport the more of it you play, which makes for a lot of sense. Especially as unlocking anything in this game takes a long time.
Oh, I know what you mean, Barjo. I mean, golf isn't exactly the fastest moving sport at the best of times, so when I saw there was only 9 holes available at the beginning of the game, I thought I'd be unlocking a new course per round. But no, I had to play about 200 holes of golf to unlock the next course. And when I did, it turned out to just be the back 9 of that same first course. I had to play a whole nother bunch of tournaments to get to the next course, and when I did, it looked exactly the same as the first one.
Oh, easy, Goose, easy. Remember, this is meant to be a relaxing sport.
Maybe a round of golf will calm him down. Luckily, the online multiplayer alleviates some of this repetition by throwing a couple of unique gameplay ideas into the mix. The first being open course, which lets you explore and play each course at your own pace.
Hole 3. It's a par 5.
Meet other players, and even hunt down hidden collectibles and gold.
The other mode is Turf War, which pits 2 teams of golfers against one another to try and claim specific holes before a timer runs down. It adds some much-needed frantic action to the competition, especially with the inclusion of golf carts. Whee!
Oh, sorry. Coming through.
Honk, honk.
I did have a lot more fun competing online against real players, but even those modes were limited to the courses that I'd unlocked. So it wasn't long before I was back to the grind of tournament play.
It does seem strange that mini-games like fishing and kart driving are all locked out so early on, when they would in fact make the perfect distraction between the game's numerous tournaments. Final thoughts?
Overall, I think Everybody's Golf deserves credit for bringing some unique RPG ideas to the game, and that does add to the longevity, but I cannot justify the amount of time it took to get to that fun, so I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Yeah, this is such a repetitive game, just like real golf. But there is charm in the presentation, and I love the physics, and I think it's a golfing game that anyone can sit down and play. It's approachable. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
We're almost at the end of the show, so it's time for the answer to Darren's challenge.
Oh, at the start of the show, I asked you this. In Rayman Legends, at the end of each world, where does Rayman send the dark teensies? And the answer is... to the moon!
Vanished into space!
To the dark and cold where mean teensies belong.
Thanks for that, Darren. Next week on Spawn Point, we're getting into the spirit of the AFL Grand Final with a sports gaming special.
We'll be reviewing the Aussie-made AFL Evolution and shoot some hoops in NBA 2K18.
You all alone in these streets, cousin. Every man for himself in his...
Oh, and we'll include some esports too, of course, as I meet 2 Aussie brothers who are Pokemon World Championship finalists.
Bringing down the Australian noob average. Well done, boys.
Well, until then, be nice.
Have fun.
And keep gaming, Barjo out.
Rat out.
Goose out.
Darren out.
Ooh, AFL final season, guys. Who's your favourite team?
The Peacocks.
The worms.
The Bilbies.
Teams, guys.
Oh no, peacocks eat worms.
That's not how this works.